A friend shared this with me, and I decided to share my opinion with you. So watch with me.
Or, why don't we just give them more money?
We did. Over $1 trillion. And somehow, poverty grew.
That doesn't make sense. Money fixes problems.
Only if the system works. Money doesn't build foundations. It just flows through whatever is already there.
But aid rebuilt Europe after the war.
Europe already had courts, laws, tax systems. Aid didn't create order. It accelerated order that already existed.
So Africa just needed more time?
It needed institutions. Instead, we sent cash. And cash in weak systems becomes power, not progress.
Where did the money actually go?
Private jets, offshore accounts, presidential palaces. Some of it never even touched the people it was meant for.
Then why didn't citizens vote those leaders out?
Because the leaders didn't depend on citizens. They depended on donors. No taxes, no accountability, no consequences.
But aid still builds schools and sends food, right?
Sometimes. But free food kills farmers. Free clothes kill factories. Charity can quietly erase local jobs.
So instead of growth, it creates dependence.
Exactly. When help never leaves, people stop building. They start waiting.
Then what actually makes a country rich?
Boring things. Property rights, rule of law, local businesses, governments afraid of their own voters, not handouts.
So the problem was never lack of money.
It was lack of systems. You can donate cash. You can't donate accountability. And without that, even $1 trillion disappears.
There you have it again. Systems, institutions versus money and cash. My dear, you see this Nigeria, it should change. I don't want to say it can change. It should change. In so many words, it has all been painted for you in that video. This country should change. It is not so difficult. It's not so complicated. It should change. How can it change? First step, because me, I'm all about solutions and reality too. First step is, in this democracy, you must vote. You must protect your vote and insist that it counts by showing up and not going home, because when you go home, I guarantee you'll be going home to another 4 years of darkness and poverty. So you might as well take that one day, come out, vote. If you have been disenfranchised, you wait still. Do not go home. At least 50% of the people that will be there might not have been disenfranchised. I'm just saying, in this, the worst possible case, you be there and wait for the votes to be, for the ballot to be cast and for the votes to be counted. And you also ensure that they are also uploaded too, as required by the Electoral Act. That's first step. The second step is that if you had done this and done your own due diligence, we can anticipate that the majority will have their way and get in a new government. And that is it. If that new government is the kind that was brought in by the people, by the might of the people, not by the might of some people with deep pockets. If that happens, that the next government came in by the might of the people, not by the might of somebody's deep pockets and corruption, then I can predict your future, my dear Nigeria. What you can expect if the next government was as a result of somebody's deep pocket and corruption, what it means is that that government is not accountable to you. It's accountable to somebody's deep pocket and somebody's ability to be corrupt. So forget your rights. Forget seeking for justice in the courts, because, of course, if it is somebody's deep pocket and corruption that is guaranteeing them their executive seats, then it means that your interest is not going to be taken care of. and this video must remain true. I mean the video you just watched. However, if you get in a leadership that is the consequence of the might of the people, remember what I'm saying is consequence of the might of the people. What this assumes is that that person didn't get to that seat on his own choice. It means is that what it means is that that person offered himself or herself to the public, and the public insisted that that person would have what they had requested of the people, which is that ability to lead them. So that person owes his leadership to you. It now means that your interest has a chance to be accounted for. Then you can now approach building institutions, building systems of accountability, credibility, justice, equity, and fairness, and consequences for wrong action can remain true. Say if you steal money, you get arrested, you get to court, you get fined, guilty or not, and you face the consequences for such action. There is no other way. The alternative is that when bad leadership persists, the poorer and the poorest of us will get to a place where they can no more take it. It will now lead to rioting, more thefts, more crime, and then the system will now degenerate to a place where it might lead to civil unrest, and that civil unrest will lead to some other playouts that are not directly giving the power to choose leadership to the people. One way or the other, this kind of negligence will lead to you getting a leadership that may not be your choice, and it leaves you to chance that hopefully the next thing that will happen after the civil unrest will be something that will work for the people or not. But I would choose and prefer that you take your life into your hands and not leave it to chance, and come out and do your part, because it is the right of the citizen to install leadership guaranteed by the Constitution, chapter 14, 2A and C. Go and read it up. Thank you.